Howdy folks, this lesson is a continuation of my free lesson, How to Read Mandolin Tab. If you haven't watched that lesson, you might want to do that before you continue. In this lesson, we're going to take a look at how slides, hammer-ons, and pull-offs are written in tab, and I'll show you a little bit about how to play them. Let's look at the first example. That's example one. That's called a slide, and you'll see a little curvy connecting line between those two eighth notes that starts on the 3rd fret and goes to the 4th fret. And underneath it, and sometimes you'll see it written above it, is a little S. And S means to slide your fretting finger from one note to the other. And if you look above the tab, you'll see the number 2 on both notes. So that means I'm playing the first note with my second finger and the second note also with my second finger. If you saw that as 1, 2, that would not be a slide. But because it's second finger to second finger, that's a slide. Now this slide are 2 eighth notes, so if we counted it off, we're given that second note full time value. They're both eighth notes. We just don't have to hit that second note with the pick because the sound is created by moving our finger to the next fret. We just play the downstroke, and while the pick flies by, it doesn't actually hit the string. The note is created by the movement of the finger. That's real important. You want to give that note its full time value. Here's what that one sounds like if I counted it off. 1, 2, 3, 4. 2, 3, 4. Now the 2, 3, 4 that I counted there at the end, I was counting up all those rests, and there was a quarter note rest followed by a half note rest. All that stuff adds up to 4 beats. We've got 2 eighth notes at the beginning, that equals 1 beat. Then there's a quarter note rest, that's the second beat. And then that little dash looking symbol there, that counts for 2 beats. So all that stuff adds up to 4 beats. Now in example 2 here, we have a different kind of slide. You'll notice that we still have 2 eighth notes, but it's written as 4, 4. And there's a little bitty slanting line kind of sliding up towards the 4. That's a really quick slide, or you could call it a grace note. That's probably the correct term for it. That just means we want to hear the sound of 4, 4. We don't want to hear 3, 4. We want to hear 4, 4. But we're just going to slip into the 4. You just barely get under it on the 3rd fret, and it'll sound like 4, 4. Here's the original one we had, the 3, 4. Sounds like 2 different notes. This one sounds like 2 of the same note. So just be aware of those quick slides, little grace notes. And by the way, they're always completely optional. Whenever you see those, you don't necessarily have to play them. They're there to add a little character and a little soul to what you're playing. Next, let's look at another common technique we use on the mandolin. It's called the hammer-on. Here's example 3. It's a hammer-on, and we're starting from the 2nd fret, and we're going to the 4th fret. What we're going to do is use that second finger coming down on the 4th fret like a hammer to pound that string and create a note. The pick is not making that sound. We're just going to pick it once while we're holding the 2nd fret. And then we're going to bring our finger down forcefully, right on the string, good and hard, and create that second note. Now that's hammering from a fretted note to another fretted note. We could do those all over the place. So there's sort of a multiplier. You get 2 notes from 1 pick stroke. Now if you look at example 4, here we're doing a similar kind of thing. we're going from an open string. We're starting with an open string and then hammering our finger down onto the fourth. That's 2 to 4 and open to 4. And they're marked with an H, but you don't pick the second note with your pick. You move your hand in an upstroke, you just don't hit the string, so you're downstroke on the first note, upstroke and miss while you hammer. It might look like I'm hitting the string, but I'm not. I'm letting my left hand fingers make the extra note. And finally, let's look at the pull-off. Here's example 5. It's a pull-off to a fretted note. We're going 4 to 2. And what you'll see happening here is I start with both fingers down. My second and my first finger both solidly in place when I pick the string. As soon as I hit the string with the pick, I push away with this second finger. And you're really kind of hooking a little bit of meat underneath the string, and you're trying to pick it. If you can't make a sound with your fingertip, you're not going to get a good sound and pull off. If you're just lifting off, you won't hear anything. So you got to kind of push against the string and pluck it. Could be called a pluck, and banjo players sometimes do call them plucks. Another way I like to think of it is just imagine there's a little fly sitting right here on your fingernail and you're flicking him off. Now we're on the third string here because we're down on the third line. The way I play pull-offs is they're really, I think of them as push-offs on the fourth string, on the third string, on the second string. I'm extending my finger that's doing the pulling off. But when I get to the first string, I pull them downwards. Kind of yank them off the side of the neck. You'll see some players pull them towards the floor on every string. I don't do it that way because it bumps the neighboring string. It's too easy to hit the neighboring string. But you will see players that do that. So just in general, my theory is pull off towards the floor on the first string and push away on the second, third, and fourth. But it's real important that you have that finger that you're going to already in place. If it's up here in the air and you pull off, it's going to go to open, and then you're going to follow it up. You need to be in place with both fingers, push it off with one pick stroke. Now example 6 is a little easier. It's a pull off to an open string. Same technique, you just don't have to hold this finger down. And you can do those on any string, pull offs to open. First string I pull down. I push away on the second, push away on the third, and the fourth. Slides, hammers, and pull-offs are really useful on the mandolin since these techniques create extra notes with only one stroke of the pick. As you go through the other lessons on the site, you'll find lots of places where I teach these techniques when we're playing licks, breaks, and solos. Hopefully this little introduction will make them easier to understand and play when you do encounter them. Take care, and I'll see you in the next lesson.